While some may view AI as a convenient tool, others see it as a potential threat to our very existence. Elon Musk himself has warned that AI may lead us down a dangerous path, one where we are unable to control the very demons we summon. The power of faith has always been tested throughout history, and Christians have been no exception. From the persecution of the early church to the modern-day challenges faced by believers around the world, the strength of one's faith has always been put to the test. And as technology continues to advance at an unprecedented rate, the lines between the human and digital world seem to blur more and more each day. One question that arises from this is, can AI really understand godly ideas? Can robots comprehend the depths of our faith and spirituality? At the heart of this debate lies the question of whether AI can truly comprehend the spiritual world. In the Bible, there are verses that seem to allude to the existence of AI and the potential dangers it may pose. These verses speak of things that seem almost otherworldly, things that may only be possible with the aid of advanced AI. As we ponder the implications of these verses, it becomes clear that the intersection of technology and faith is not an easy one to navigate. But perhaps the most troubling aspect of all of this is the idea of demonic influences coming through objects like robots. It's a concept that might seem far-fetched to some, but one that has been a concern for many Christians throughout history. Ultimately, it's a reminder that while the challenges we face may change, the strength of our faith remains a constant source of hope and inspiration. The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verses 15 through 17, tells of a time when the false prophet, the second beast, will be given the power to create an image of the first beast that can speak, and it will force people to worship it. Those who refuse to worship will be killed, and everyone will be required to receive a mark on their right hands or foreheads, without which they will not be able to buy or sell. The mark will bear the name of the beast or the number of its name, which is 666. As Christians, we know that God is all-powerful and infinitely wise. We are created in His image and are meant to be creative as well, using our gifts to do good things in His sight. But the thought of the false prophet creating an image that can manipulate and control people at a global scale is a frightening one. Sounds familiar? It is easy to see how the Antichrist could use this technology to mimic God's wisdom and use it to establish an authority and system that requires worship of the image of the Antichrist. We must remain vigilant and prayerful in these end times, seeking God's wisdom and discernment as we navigate this increasingly complex world. When we think of faith, we often think of a priest who acts in persona Christi, meaning that he acts in the place of Christ. But what about a robot performing the role of a priest? How do we feel about a robot marrying a couple in a church, giving blessings, and performing other religious rituals? While it may seem impossible to some, others believe that robots can play a big role in religion, and it is already happening in many faiths. For example, apps that help Muslims pray have been downloaded by hundreds of millions of people, and the Vatican has launched a smart rosary bracelet that tracks your prayers. Alexa is even linked up with the Church of England, providing answers to questions like, "What is God?" As we continue to integrate technology into our lives, it is important to remain grounded in our faith and seek God's wisdom in all things. Let us not forget that while technology can be a useful tool, it is not a replacement for the divine wisdom and guidance that comes from our Creator. Let us pray for discernment and wisdom as we navigate the challenges of the modern world and remain steadfast in our faith, even as the world around us changes. Have you ever heard of Robot Rabbi? It's a new technology that brings the rabbi right into your home, encouraging you to be the best version of yourself through daily texts. It's making religion more accessible and integrated into everyday life, rather than something you have to go out of your way to seek out. One user even said that it challenges her to be a better person more than a physical rabbi ever could. But where does this fit in with biblical prophecy? We can look to the book of Daniel, where in chapter 12, the Lord speaks to the prophet about the end times, saying that many will go here and there to increase knowledge. While some theologians interpret this as referring to the invention of the internet and increased travel for business and leisure, we can also interpret it in the context of AI. After all, robots, autonomous vehicles, and AI are constantly going here and there to gather knowledge, whether it's in the form of data, sensory input, or user feedback. And it's not hard to see why AI and robotics are such a big part of our world today. They're revolutionizing industries, making our lives easier, and helping us explore new frontiers of knowledge. But what does this mean for us as Christians? Should we fear these technological advances or embrace them as part of God's plan for humanity? Take, for example, the robot priest named Mindar at Kodaji Temple in Tokyo, Japan. Standing at an impressive 6 feet 4 and weighing in at 132 pounds, Mindar is capable of delivering a 25-minute sermon on Heart Sutra. This is just one example of how AI technology is being used to replace human religious leaders. It's no surprise then that Christian churches are beginning to consider how AI and smart machines can shape their liturgies. One Christian AI musician created by Marquee Boone Enterprises uses software algorithms to recognize patterns in songs and compose new ones through replication. These are just a few examples of how AI technology is making its way into the world of religion. But what does this mean for the core of a worship service, the sermon? While some may argue that AI sermon writers can produce passable sermons, the consensus among clergy is that these machines lack the passion and soul that make a sermon truly impactful. Sermons are not just a means of imparting theological and moral guidance, they are also an opportunity for faith leaders to connect with their congregation on a deeper emotional level. AI may be able to replicate patterns and churn out a decent sermon, but it can never replace the passion and conviction of a human preacher. As Christians, we must remain vigilant in our faith and resist the temptation to rely solely on technology to lead us in worship. The book of Revelation warns us of the dangers of blindly following false idols, and the allure of AI and smart machines must be approached with caution. In the end, it is the resilience and determination of our faith that will guide us through the challenges and uncertainties of the future. As we continue to embrace technological advancements, let us never forget the power of human connection and the importance of a soulful, heartfelt sermon. As Christians, we understand the significance of preaching and its impact on our faith. Yet, with the advancement of technology, some people are turning to AI to do the job instantly. However, we must ask ourselves, can AI truly replace the human experience of preaching? Lazy pastors may be tempted to use AI to create their sermons, but the reality is that AI cannot fully understand the importance of community and inclusivity in creating a church. As Pastor Rachel Keefe of Living Table United Church of Christ in Minneapolis explains, while the facts may be correct, there is something deeper missing that only a human experience can provide. Senior Pastor Mike Glenn of Brentwood Baptist Church agrees that AI will never be able to preach a decent sermon because the gospel is more than just words. It is evidence of a changed life. When listening to a sermon, a congregation is looking for evidence that the pastor has been with Jesus, and AI will always have to take someone else's words for it. Similarly, the Reverend Russell Moore emphasizes that preaching is not just about transmitting information, but conveying the word from God. It requires someone who knows the text and can connect with the people. AI simply cannot replace this human experience and connection. As we continue to navigate the advancements of technology in our daily lives, we must remember the importance of the human experience in our faith. While AI may be able to assist us in certain tasks, it can never replace the depth and significance of human connection in our spiritual lives. Let us continue to seek out and support the human experience in preaching in the church community.